I rise this morning to wholeheartedly support the motion to recognise October 15th as the International Pregnancy and Infant Loss Remembrance Day, brought to this House by Ms Fitzherbert. This is a day, as we've heard, that's been already recognised in Western Australia, Tasmania and New South Wales, and of course internationally. I'd like to acknowledge the contribution of my colleague, Mr Borman, who told his personal story. I think this made a great contribution to this debate, where he bravely spoke about the loss of his son Matthew. And I believe that this is exactly the reason why we are debating and speaking on this motion today, for children like Matthew and for parents like Jeff and Nicole. Because a loss of a child by miscarriage, stillbirth or neonatal death is profoundly distressing for all concerned, for mothers, for fathers, for grandparents, for siblings of the child, and of course the wider community. I myself have lost 2 babies to miscarriage. Emily would have been 11 if she had survived, and Harrison would be 8. The loss of my children has had a deep impact on my life and on the lives of my family. My son has grown up as an only child due to the loss of his siblings. My mother lost 2 anticipated and much loved grandchildren. And as others have reflected here today, I lost a future. We find it important to remember Emily and Harrison. Every Christmas I have ornaments with their names on them which I hang on the tree. Such rituals are small but important to mothers and families, to aid initially in healing and as time goes by, to aid in remembrance. I believe that instigating the recognition of this day will contribute to such healing and to such remembrance for many. The loss of my children was unavoidable, as so many are. They were simply part of the fragility of human life. Others are preventable, and we remember and mourn the lost children. We must seek to work, as we mourn the lost children, we must seek to work to reduce the incidence of miscarriage, stillbirth and neonatal death through medical research and improvements in prenatal and perinatal care. Recent research out of the US concluded that almost 1 in 4 stillbirths are preventable, which is a sobering statistic, and of course it isn't a statistic. These are our children. This Parliament recently concluded a perinatal care services report which identified many gaps in our services, and I know that this report will be taken seriously across the Parliament. We must also work to provide more support for families as they go through the process of bereavement. One positive development is the provision of cuddle cots in public maternity services. And I have a friend who used this service, and he said it was just amazing. It allowed him to spend time with his little boy. It allowed their children to spend time, their parents, their grandparents. They allow families the opportunity to spend time with their baby following stillbirth or early neonatal death. Sadly, I must note that other lives are lost as a result of deliberate actions, often motivated by eugenic discrimination against children with disabilities. Genetic screening programs offered to pregnant women are often based on an inherently discriminatory approach that views virtually any disability as not just undesirable, but incompatible with a life worth living. This eugenic approach continues after birth, both with a failure to provide care to children who are born alive following a late-term abortion, and with failure to give treatment to newborns with disabilities selectively. I take this personally. I still have a tiny set of booties in my drawer at work which were given to me when I lost Harrison. He was a child lost through miscarriage because of suspected genetic abnormalities. I would have given anything to hold him in my arms, even for a short time. And so that's why I work to ensure that mothers have this opportunity, whether through advancements in care, or through education that babies with disabilities have lives worth living. This motion reminds us that every child is inherently valuable and irreplaceable. Each child lost is a loss to us all. I commend the motion to remember our lost infants on October the 15th by marking International Pregnancy and Infant Loss Remembrance Day. And I echo the words of Mr. Borman, who said, let's recognise it this year.